Hello, for this module, we're going to be discussing Intro to Contact Center Management, introducing the managerial aspects of your new role. In this module, we will focus on the 4 principles of management: planning, organizing, leading, and controlling. Let's start off with planning. Now, planning has many definitions. For this course, we are planning your success in your new role. Let's start with a series of questions. Now, if you're an internal hire, you may have some of these answers. But if you're an external hire, you may have to do a little bit of researching. So you want to ask yourself a series of questions to really get to know this role a little bit better. What is the company's mission and vision statement? Are the organizational goals clear to you? Do you know where they are? Can you locate them? And if not, seek someone to help you. What are the team's goals and how do they contribute to the overall bottom line? You've just taken over a new team. Do you know exactly what their goals are? If not, you definitely want to find out. Has this team been meeting their goals prior to your arrival? Have they been successful in achieving their goals? If so, maybe it's time to look at some new goals. If not, let's figure out a way to get them there. Are you familiar with the job descriptions of each role within your team? Is there a hierarchy in the team? If so, what are the differences in responsibilities? For example, do you have a coordinator role and then a lead role? If you do, you want to find out the differences in responsibilities. What other departments does your team support or interact with? And are you familiar with those teams and team members? If so, great. You want to reach out to those team members and introduce yourself. Have you met with your direct leadership to understand their expectations? You definitely want to make sure you know what your leader is looking for. So sit down and have a one-on-one with them to make sure you understand the expectations of your role and your teams. Planning to meet with your team. Now, it is very important that you take the time to meet with each one of your teams. As a new leader, it's great to connect with your team, and in an article regarding virtual teams, opportunities and challenges for e-leaders, they mention the hallmarks of effective communication include quantity, frequency, and accuracy of information exchange. If this is true, the best way to begin this journey is by communicating with each individual. What you'll want to do is schedule a one-on-one with each team member. Be prepared for the meeting by having a series of questions. You definitely want to start the meeting off with the person. How are you doing? How have you been? Tell me a little bit about yourself. This helps them to understand that to you, they're not just an employee, but they're also a person. Ask them to explain their role from their perspective. You want to learn it from where they're coming from. And ask them for the challenges they've been experiencing in the role. You also want to ask them about any recent successes. What do they need or want from you as a leader that will help them to be more successful in their role? And explain your intentions and goals as the new leader of the team. Always thank them for being willing to have an open and honest conversation with you. Next, we're going to talk about planning goals. Now, there are different types of goals. There are short-term goals. They typically span from 12 months or less and are connected to an organizational goal. And then there are long-term goals. Typically span from 1 to 5 years and focus on achieving strategies within the company's strategic plan. Finally, there are SMART goals. Specific, measurable, and attainable goals that are results-oriented and have target dates. Now, for the sake of this training, we are going to focus on achieving short-term goals. We never want to bite off more than we can chew. So you want to select 2 or 3 goals that align with your teams and your direct leaders' feedback and create those goals. We will use the SMART goals model for that information. So SMART goals. The S is for specific values that should be provided. You want to avoid any vague goals. Measurable or quantifiable. Quantifiable is the M. A is attainable and realistic. Can you achieve these goals? R is results oriented, and they support the company's vision. And T, do they have target dates or deadlines to reach the goal? Here's an example of a SMART goal. Increase the number of appointments set by 10% by the end of Q2. We will do this by offering a wider scheduling time frame for customers. By increasing the number of appointments set, we will increase the number of closed sales, contributing to the company's revenue goal for Q2. Now, we want to plan on putting those goals into action. So you want to ensure that there is a plan of action. Define the roles and the responsibilities within the teams to achieve the goals. You want to make sure we're allocating resources. And set a timeline by creating smaller goals with due dates. Monitor progress periodically to make sure you are making steps towards the goal. Review individual performance, recognize top performers, and always be sure to celebrate your success. In planning, we discussed understanding the team's roles, meeting with your team, and creating team goals. We also talked about how we were going to put those goals into action.